The OPEC and allies have had a meeting yesterday and have decided to stick with their plan of increasing 4 lakh barrels per day in the month of September as well, and perhaps until December. What does that mean for the prices? The immediate reaction clearly has been of profit-taking, but joining in for the conversation is Peter McGuire. He's CEO, Exim Australia. Peter, hi. Another meeting done, and we've seen the important numbers perhaps clearly have come in sense of the demand expectations for this year and the next. How have you read into it?
Well, good afternoon, Manisha. Yeah, it certainly was done, and it was done very quickly, considering it's over within an hour versus, sometimes 8 to 12 hours. So the first part is a little bit of softness as far as price, that 400,000 barrels that has been ratified by OPEC and its allies for October. So there's the starting point. And the fragility of the global economy, they're saying that there's been a strong rebound and it's onward and upward. So I'm not suggesting price is going to edge up that much higher, but at the present time, it's had a very nice rally in the last week and a bit.
Peter, also, how would you look at those statements where they've talked about a deficit in this year, but an expected surplus, even if lesser by 1.5 million barrels per day, perhaps? How would you read those numbers?
Well, I'm not surprised, Manisha. I'm not surprised at all. And there's just, the fluidity of the market itself as far as these uncertain times with COVID and the impact it has across different jurisdictions. So, yes, I'm understanding as far as the surplus numbers. I'm also very much mindful as far as the US consumption. We've had the biggest week ever. So there really gives us an indication as far as, what the fuel demand is across the globe and certainly across America. So it's been very, very strong over that Northern Hemisphere summer. And if that consumption can be maintained, then 22 could be a relatively good year for the producers.
Well, where would you see the prices going then, Peter? The next OPEC meeting now is on 4th of October. So that for next 1 month, we perhaps won't hear much from OPEC then. What would you want to watch out for, and what's your sense on prices?
Well, I think it was oversold. We discussed that a couple of weeks ago, where it really was hemorrhaged down and spanked down to, 62 bucks for WTI. It's had a big move up. Within a week, it was up about 11 or 12%. So I think it'll give up, which it is, giving up a few of those gains. I think that good news story was built into price. It was already baked in the appreciation of the OPEC meeting. And I feel that, in essence, I think it's closer to 60 than 70 for WTI, Manisha.
We've spoken about supply a lot, Peter. What's your sense on demand now? Because the Chinese demand seems to be improving. Yes, so is the case with overall Asia as well. But with with yet another Delta variant and some countries still facing restrictions, how are you looking at the demand scenario for the rest of this year?
Well, I've got to say, if US and China are going to be the benchmark to work from, with those numbers, then it's got to be relatively okay and relatively strong. Airline traffic has got to pick up. So there's literally, I don't know how many planes fly a day, but we're in lockdown here in Australia and there aren't many planes, and I'm sure that will only increase across that Asia basin. So when you're thinking about demand picture, hopefully 22, if we don't see any further surprises and we can put the COVID story behind us, then 22 could be a return to some form of normality, Manisha. But no one knows that, and that's the uncertainty dealing with these markets at the moment.
Sure.